The Thousand Suns Plastic Range was released on December 2016. 5 years later, in summer 2021, the Infernal Master was released. And 4 years later, a brand new unit was announced at Adepticon, Tsango Robots. I know that's not how they are called, but I was very disappointed, so I couldn't even acknowledge their name. This new unit doesn't really look like it belongs on the faction of the Thousand Suns. This faction, it's about immortal magical space marines. So why would they want to have robots? I understand that in Horus Heresy, the Thousand Suns got to use robots because of the science and all of that, but even then it didn't feel like they belonged there. And back then, they were not immortal magical space marines. Now, I am actually very happy and grateful that they gave us something, and I'm pretty sure they put a lot of effort on making the Sectaur robots. But when you have third-party stuff on Space Marine 2 for 1,000 Suns, it shows that the faction could use a bit more love. Like the Sekhmet for 40k will be interesting to see. So, what are the miniatures that I would have rather had? Enter the Thousand Suns Sorcerer from the 3rd edition Rubric Marine box. This miniature is iconic. It has a lot of illustrations with him doing Thousand Suns stuff. Sometimes he's hanging out with Ahriman because I think he's one of his exiles or his chosen. We also have a super cool black and white illustration, which shows it can also have a different faceplate. The miniature has a lot of personality, and to me, this would have been the absolute choice. Then we also have some 3rd edition illustrations where we get to see Rubric Marines wielding plasma guns. So the idea behind this is that they are more lucid than their fellow Rubric Marines, so they are able to use more sophisticated weaponry like plasma guns or perhaps force swords. Rubric Dreadnoughts. They had a miniature in the early 2000s and they have been in Forge World books and in the Ahriman series of Black Library. If it were ever to become a plastic miniature, it will be interesting if it could be turned into a character as well, so that it could be a counterpart for Bjorn of the Space Wolves. In this instance, I would suggest Sobek, which was Ahriman's lieutenant and friend during the Horus Heresy, but he became dust. Now I know there's a lot of people that want really bad Librarian Dreadnoughts or Psychic Dreadnoughts for the Thousand Suns. Well, that might work in Horus Heresy. In 41st Millennium, it really doesn't make a lot of sense, since the Thousand Suns have now learned how to reverse time and heal wounds that way. I mean, why would they want their brothers to be trapped inside a dreadnought? And wouldn't that sorcerer actually be able to restore itself as well? Another cool miniature to see would be a Rubric being reformed back into its armor like in Space Marine 2. That will be a really interesting thing to see. As for the other miniatures of the reveal, I have to say that the Plague Marine is my favorite. He has a very Dark Souls or From Software games silhouette that I like a lot, especially the sword, the backpack. This is a very memorable character, at least when it comes to design and silhouette. Now let's take a look at the 8-bound character for the World Eaters. I understand that a lot of the World Eater fans weren't precisely very happy about it, but look at the bright side. It actually looks like it belongs to the army, and it was released 2 years later, as opposed to the 4 or 5 that it took the Thousand Suns to get their first character. So technically I think that's kind of a win. If it had been up to me, I would definitely have given the Death Guard Plague Havocs because they look pretty cool. As for War Leaders, probably Berserker Bikers or the Brotherhood of the Bloody Tusk. I also recall a boxcast where Jess Goodwin was commenting about a new release of Space Marines, where he spoke about the fans and collectors having something to look forward, you know. At the very least we got the Infernal Master, but I wish it hadn't taken like 5 years to release. From then on it was just dust, because there was nothing really on the horizon for us. However, we did get Space Marine 2, where it showcases how the Thousand Suns like to fight. So, my sweet heretics and neophytes, what would you have liked to see for the range? Let me know in the comment box. Until then, take care of yourselves.